Alrighty, so we have the data download for Global and JP Dokkan. And with that, we know when GOMAH is going to be dropping. LR GOMAH, the new best unit in the game. And he is going to be dropping here in about 7 hours, 8 p.m. EST. That is very early for a banner here. So that is going to be pretty nice for most players. But what this will end up meaning is that the Dokkan Day tickets will not be available right away for LR GOMAH. So keep that in mind. But what we are going to be focusing on who today is going to be potentially who will be on the banner. Now, what we need to know about GOMAH is that he is a legendary summon character. So we've talked about this recently, believe it or not, with the summonable LR, Gohan, and Goten. We have to take a look at that banner for reference, and then we would want to take a look at the last few legendary summon banners for us to get a better idea of where we are at. So if we go back here, we'll be able to take a look and see who could potentially be featured. Now, with GOMAH, there is not a theme in terms of the calendar for Dokkan other than him being from Daima, right? And then obviously with this character being from Daima, that means there are not going to be other legendary summon characters that could potentially fit with him from Daima, right? Because obviously the characters that we have right now would be the banner unit Piccolo that would be eligible for this banner, and I believe that's it, because then everything else is a Dokkan Festival exclusive or a free-to-play character. So that is something to keep in mind. But looking at GOMAH here, the categories he's going to be leading are Demonic Power as well as Terrifying Conquerors. So these are the two best places to start for characters that we could potentially see. Now, looking at this image here, we do not have a ton of legendary summon characters that are recent, okay? So that's going to be the first thing that we start with, right? Demonic Power. This is a Dokkan Festival exclusive LR. This is a Carnival LR, and this unit was just featured over here on the Gohan and Goten banner, so I don't think that they are going to be featured on the banner, despite them being a Demonic Power character. This is going to be a Carnival LR as well. This is a Dokkan Festival exclusive LR, and then you have an interesting option here with Ultimate Gohan. Now, the last time Ultimate Gohan was featured on a banner that is like a real banner would be the Namek Gohan banner, which was a pretty long time ago at this point, right? This was October 16th, so a little over a year ago at this point was the last time this character was featured on a banner. So I would not be surprised in the slightest if this ends up being the second or third LR featured for this legendary summon banner. So that I think is pretty interesting, but again, we are just going to have to wait and see in terms of like what we could potentially expect from this banner. But I do think that Ultimate Gohan here has not reran on a banner in over a year. You have a pretty good chance of seeing this guy creep up or pop up on the banner soon. So Ultimate Gohan, that'd probably be a decent prediction here, but again, that's just a potential option. And then we look here, we have another Carnival LR, a free-to-play LR, and then when we do get down to the legendary summons, we have a couple interesting options here, right? This guy as well, Super Boo, could also maybe find his way on here, but again, I don't really think that makes a ton of sense. He was also last featured on the Ultimate Gohan banner, which was over a year ago at this point. So when it comes to if they're going to do Demonic Power legendary summon characters, that would be my best expectation, that Ultimate Gohan and Super Boo would be the two hot commodities in terms of who could potentially rerun on this. And then if we have Gohan here as well, we'll take a look at him very quickly. But with him on featured banners, right? The last time he was featured on a banner was, again, this was for an Extreme Z banner, and this was the anniversary banner of 2023. So the last time that this unit was on the front page of a banner was a very long time ago, almost 3 years ago at this point, if we're talking about the JP schedule. But with that being said, I don't think that this Gohan is going to be featured on a banner, but who knows? I think he's a little bit too old to be a selling point, but then again, like, you look at the this banner right here, and like Super 17 is prominent. So it depends on if like there's a legendary or if there's an LR character that's getting an easy A, they might toss them on, and that is always possible. But when it comes to the Demonic Power category, those would be the two LRs that jump off the page to me. I don't see this Gohan getting it here. And then if we want to look at the rest of the list, these four characters all right here are Dokkan Festival exclusive LRs, and then the rest of them are free or from the World Tournament. So when it comes to Demonic Power, those would be the two best bets for me. Super Boo and Ultimate Gohan, because they haven't been featured in a long time, and Fat Chance, but Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I guess, is also a possibility. But if we continue to move on, we can go over here to Terrifying Conquerors. And then we have some half-interesting stuff, right? Captain Ginyu, I think, is Probably not going to happen because he ran on the TN banner, but this TN banner was also, 5 months ago. So you never know with these things. But with Terrifying Conquerors, when we look at the legendary summon options, we have this Captain Ginyu. We've got our boy Grade A Vegeta right here. We have LR Turles. We have LR Vegeta and Nappa. Full power Frieza, right? Bojack. And what it's going to come down to is, are they doing a super easy A for Bojack? Because then maybe you could potentially see him on there, or not. Because when we look at this leader skill here, there are not a ton of options for legendary summon characters. We looked at Demonic Power. There was about like 4 or 5 summonable options here. And then if we look at Terrifying Conquerors for his leader skill, excluding GOMAH himself, we have 1, 2, 3 Golden Frieza. Golden Frieza wouldn't be a horrible shout. Has he been featured recently? Golden Frieza, he was featured on the Broly banner, so that probably is not going to happen. But if they wanted to rerun him, I don't think that would be the worst idea, just due to the fact that Golden Frieza is very, very good, would fit on Terrifying Conquerors and all of that fun stuff for summoning purposes. But when it comes to the overall value of this banner, I don't see a ton of it there. But the problem is just how good this GOMAH character is, right? When we look at GOMAH himself, I'm sure you guys have noticed at this point that this unit is an absolute dog. Like, he's just got everything going for him, going to be one of the crazier units in the game, but we have to be careful with this specific type of banner because, again, it is not good for the Dragon Stones. The value is nowhere near as high, and that could end up potentially being an issue for you if push comes to shove. So don't say I didn't tell you that when we're taking a look at this. So continuing on, right, looking at the format, as we know at this point, this is going to be a legendary summon banner. So with the legendary summon banner, there's going to be a couple specific elements that we have to take into consideration. The first being the amount of featured characters that are on the banner. Now, I did make a small mistake here. There are actually 4 featured LRs on the banner, not 3. So that is going to open up the options a little bit more, but then side of that, we're also going to have 6 regular featured SSRs that are nowhere near as high quality as LRs. Now, in the case of the Gohan and Goten banner, this is not very common, but there are some characters on here who are actually pretty good, right? This physical pan is good for the GT Heroes team, and then when you can use them in areas like Battlefield and stages that they're not banned, this Int Baby is also pretty impressive. The problem with this character in specific is his leader skill. Because he has a nuking leader skill, if you don't know what that is, it's attack and defense per orb obtained of a certain typing, so it makes characters hit a lot harder than they're technically supposed to, and the game does not really want that. So that's why this baby is banned in most events. And then with Physical Pan, she's just a nice like floating option for the GT Heroes team. And then the rest of the SSRs are not very good. This Gotenks is old at this point. He's kind of aged out at this point. This Trunks is kind of aged out at this point. It's the same thing with Hellfighter 17 right here. This version of Baby. And then Majin Vegeta did get his Super Easy A. So that kind of makes me think that our boy Int Bojack is potentially on the block for a Super Easy A in this spot for Terrifying Conquerors. And I kind of expect him to be on the banner now that I'm looking at it. So I'm probably going to throw Bojack in for my prediction here. Now, if we look at a previous legendary summon banner, we can also see this in action, where we have, in this case, it's not going to be 4 featured LRs. It is going to be 3. So that is what it's going to come down to. Is this going to be a 3 featured LR banner, or is this going to be a 4 featured LR banner? Now, with Majin Vegeta, it's because we knew he was getting his Super Easy A. But with this one, we did not have a Super Easy A in that specific spot to be on the banner. So then we just ended up having a couple things here, right? With it just being Cell Max, Ginyu, and Tien. So in theory, if we look here, let's see. Tien has only ran on his initial banner. So it would not shock me in the slightest if the banner looked a little bit something like this. We have LR GOMAH in this spot right here, and then the next spot for the LR would be LRTN. And then in this spot for Demonic Power or Terrifying Conquerors, it's just going to come down to who is going to be available from those categories. And more than likely to me, it's probably going to be somebody, right, from these two. And if we go, I closed out Demonic Power, but it's probably going to be Ultimate Gohan or Super Buu. I would probably say Ultimate Gohan. Just because of the fact that he is on Demonic Power. So this unit right here, and again, he hasn't reran in a pretty long time here, and that would be the 3rd LR on the banner. And then for the 4th LR on the banner, not this one, no, come on, this one right here in this spot, this would be Int Bojack. So That would be what the lineup would look like for me. Again, it would probably be 3 LRs in the front, and then they'd hide Bojack in the back because it's just not that exciting. And then in turn here, you would have GOMAH in the front page, and then you probably have Ultimate Gohan over here. And then on the left side, it would be Tien, right? Or it would be Tien over here, and then Ultimate Gohan on the side. So overall, that would be like an okay banner, I'd say. Being able to pick up GOMAH and Tien wouldn't be like a horrible choice of picking up units, but we have to keep in mind that the anniversary is starting to creep up. What did I say, right? We're almost 2 months out at this point from the anniversary, so we do have to keep that in mind. And something else that we need to consider is there's going to be pity for 1,000 stones as well as the Dokkan Day tickets. So do not forget about that. But that is who I think will be on the GOMAH banner. Let me know down below who you guys think will be on there and all that fun stuff in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this one, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you were new, so that way you don't miss out on all of my Dokkan content that we post around here. If you are a member, shout out to you. And if you want to become a member yourself, you can click the join button or click the link in the description. With that being said, that's everything I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Love you guys.